We got a question about what are the attributes or the traits of a good guard passer? The person said they have an idea of like, well, a good guard has, you're flexible, you have good dynamic hip movement, you have leg dexterity, but what would you need to be a good guard passer? So we were putting our brains together here, and Nelson's got some thoughts.
So if you look at really good guard passers, in my opinion, one of the things they do is they're always in a very neutral position. So like as they're doing whatever passing style they have, they're so aware of where the center of gravity is, both being like, left and right and forwards and backwards, that it's really hard for you to be on the bottom and off balance them to either get them overhead or going backwards. And then, because you need that off balance to start working whatever you're doing. Also, if you're a good guard passer, you need to have a very wide knowledge of whatever guards are being used at the moment. So what's the meta game? So if I go into a tournament, right now, it's like I need to know how to deal with lapels, right? I need to know how to deal with berimbolo. If it was 1996, it's like, all right, I gotta have like really good, and like I gotta get out of close guard. I gotta beat butterfly. I gotta beat half guard. Mm-hmm. Now it's like a lot more stuff that you need to deal with. So you haven't got like a very good knowledge base, and then whenever we're doing this kind of stuff, it's like just knowing how to deal with whatever Matt throws at me. So like right now he has a Del Hiva hook. It's like, okay, how can I deal with this Del Hiva hook without going too far forward, off balancing myself and getting swept? So this like base and balance makes a big deal. And then you're dealing with like small little grips without, a lot of times like I can break this grip, I go here, I go like this. Like I broke the grip, right? But now I'm off balance, and I can sit up back into me.
And you're not passing from on that side of the room.
Yeah.
You gotta come back this way.
But if you see guys that like are really good at guard passing, a lot of times they'll break grips like, and then like that was it. It was like such a small circle for using like a martial arts star.
Small circles jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, small circles. You just the small little adjustments. Like if you watch like Lucas Lepri passing, it almost like he's like stepping and breaking stuff, and here, like they're like such small motions and small adjustments, and then he's like here, and he's almost like black magic. And when you're rolling with Lucas, that's what it feels like. You're like constantly. He's just like making all these little adjustments, micro adjustments. He's micro adjusting, and then you're like, oh shit! Like he's like halfway to a knee cut, or he's like on my side control already. He has a baseball bat choke, right? So in my head, and from the best passers I've dealt with, it's just that like in the bottom, you can be doing all these things, and you can't find that opening. And then they just improving position until they get to the spot they want to be. And then this it can look different, right? Mm-hmm. If this guy is just like a very heavy, like let's say like over-under passer, he still has to do all these things to get the over-under, right? But if he's a more dynamic guy, like a Lucas or like Tainan Dalpra, they're still doing like all these adjustments, and then they get to their spots they want to be in to hit whatever pass they're working on. But it's all those like small adjustments. So it's not necessarily they're like are they strong? Yeah, like are they like super strong? Not really. But they're strong enough where they can break grips and stay on balance, and like they have like that endurance in their backs where like you're not gonna tire them out in over a 10-minute match, and they can hold their positions so they can get to their passes.
That I think connected to that as my thought was it's this the ability just to always make pressure, and that can be in the mechanical sense of like pressure body to body, but also like to make the bottom person feel pressured. Like if I make any mistake down here, things are going to get worse. I'm going to just lose my guard the moment I don't do this right, or I'm going to feel like each moment I'm doing things, it keeps being like less and less in my favor. And in the past, it was much more literally just like pressure, like just being, it was just people smashing in with pressure. Now you have more redirecting and going over and under and leg dragging, and the pressure is still there, but it's not so much just that like I spike my head on him into a tripod, but it's that he knows any moment his leg goes out of position, there's going to be a consequence of a knee coming through, or there'll be hips getting turned and smashed. So there's more like, a long step isn't like a high pressure move. In fact, I relieve a lot of pressure for that moment, but he knows that if he does anything wrong, there will be another moment right after where I'm on him. And so it takes time to develop that because I know as a white belt, your balance won't be good. So Nelson's thing won't be helping. You know, you won't have that yet. You won't feel like any position I'm still, they can do whatever I want and I can maintain my balance. It's like you're going to be getting flopped all over the place. So it's developing that, which will just take a lot of experience. And then the ability to apply pressure of learning how to drive without being off balance, learning how to connect and squeeze without tiring yourself out. And even if you're small, you'll have to learn how to make whatever pressure you can make go to the right spots. Because you can train tiny guys who make you feel like you're getting crushed all the time because they don't waste their weight. They take it all and they put it in one spot, or they position it just right so that you can't move. So they might as well weigh 1,000,000 pounds because they're putting what pounds they do have in just the right spots and they're not out of position.
I think one last thing is like that needs to be mentioned is like a lot of what we're talking about only gets developed and only gets showcased when you guys stay in the pocket. So if I go here and I start my guard passing, and every time Matt makes the grip, I kick out and I back off and then try to come back in and then like, oh shit, he put me again and I'm out
This is real common
and I'm in.
at lower belts because yeah, if you go in, you know, like especially in the lower belts with the higher belt, they think everything I'm doing is a big trap. Well, probably, but you can't pass my guard from over there.
Yeah, so just learning to deal with grips while staying here and improve your position.
Yeah, getting in the mix of things, staying in that mid-range, close range, even when things are like a little weird. And then only backing out when it's like, okay, I'm gonna get swept for sure. And actually in training, maybe get swept a couple times to see how it happens. And then you can back off. But it's like, you're doing all this work when you're passing. You're doing all these advancing things. It's not like one move. It's a bunch of little things. So if something goes wrong and your answer is just to go, abandon everything, reset, you've got to redo all that stuff again. So it's knowing when do you really have to abandon everything and when can you just like adjust, change, back up 2 steps instead of 20. And again, that's like an experience thing. So you'll just have to keep working on it.
So I think the term is like failure testing.
That's a good one.
So you gotta like do your pass until the point of failure. Like, okay, if I'm doing this pass and I'm applying this pressure and then like I get overhead swept, it's like, okay, I had too much forward pressure. Let me back it up a little bit. Like, I'm gonna squat a little bit lower, then I squat too low and I get swept backwards. It's like, okay, now I went too far back the other way. So let's find like that middle spot where my pressure, my shoulders over my hips, and I have a good control over my hips, and then I can go left or right. And that's how your guard passing is going to get better, and it's just a process. And then the fastest way to get to that result that you want is just going to that guard and staying in there, and just figuring things out. Like, no one can do that for you. Guard passing is like guard passing and guard play is just like that puzzle solving.
Yeah, that's why so many gyms just like, you can get pretty good at a gym that just says, okay, everyone line up, everyone on that side of the room plays guard, everyone on this side of the room try to pass guard, and that's the whole class, because you know there's so much learning to be done in there if you just make people do that enough.
Yeah. So get cracking on that problem solving. I think that's the answer. Problem solving.
Answers, get good.
Get good.